What's going on, everyone? Caliper Whips here, and today this is a video on the top tools for whip making. Now you're probably thinking, why are you coming out with a video like this? Well, this is a video that I wish I had when I first started whip making. Okay, having these 14 tools, you only see 12 here, but I'll get to 14 later. These 14 tools would have saved me so much time, money, and heartache. Believe me. Okay, and I'm just pretty much coming out with this video as pretty much a warning to all beginner whip makers. You know, get these guys and you will be set. Okay, let's get started. The first tool on the left here is a heavy-duty pair of snippers. I use this to cut Kevlar. I use it to cut anything that is not paracord, like nails and stuff like that. And the reason why I say that is because these snippers cut only paracord. Why, you ask? Just watch this. You guys ready for it? And you're probably saying, okay, whoop-de-doo. Well, no. Seriously. These little snippers right here cut paracord in a clean slice. Okay, let me show you with my other snippers right here. See that? There's still some strands attached. Okay? And when you're building whips, it's pretty much a hassle to go back through and snip it a second time. So that's pretty much a complete hassle. Another tool that I have here is a pair of pliers. These are very helpful for pretty much pulling strands and other minute jobs like that, but very helpful to have. I don't use this as much, but I still use these pretty much in every whip that I build. Super glue, one of my top 3 favorites that I couldn't live without. The reason why I love this so much is because I use it to help me drop strands, to help pretty much solidify everything in place, and I use it for other stuff in my whips. It is very, very helpful, and I highly recommend getting it. Cigarette lighter. Now, I am actually not a big fan of the flame ones, because as you can see, the wind is blowing it around everywhere. If you can land something like a torch, that would be great. Pretty much a mini lighter. This is a bit too big for what I need. Yeah, anyways. Hemostats. These are another very helpful tool. You can use these to clip strands together and hold stuff. I use these to make crackers, and I use them to hold strands. I might do a video on how to make crackers. Who knows? But very, very helpful tool. If you build whips at all and you don't have a pair of hemostats, I surely weep for you. A scratch-all. Extremely helpful. Now, if you don't own, if you're not a whip maker, a scratch-all is something you have to own, because it helps you replace the crackers on whips, and it's extremely helpful. This is an extremely helpful tool. I love this, and it is amazing. Utility knife. Preferably a model like this. I use this for my leather working because it has a nice open blade. I'm not a big fan of the retractable blades when I'm working with leather, because leather has little fine little granules, or like little fibrous little hairs that pretty much get everywhere depending on what leather you're working with. And when you're retracting the blade up and down, you don't want it to clog up the mechanism. So this is like a manual, I don't know, the least amount of moving parts. But I'll kind of do a little leather demonstration with it in a minute. A caliper. Not a caliber, a caliper. These right here. This is an extremely useful tool, and I love it. It is not like an electric one. This is batteries free, of course. And I like it because I use it to measure out what leather I'm going to cut, and I also use it as kind of like a backwards thing to move my blade across. And again, I'll do a little demonstration of that. Tape measure, preferably English and metric read. Thanks to this tape measure, I'm now very familiar with the metric system. And lacing needles. Well, there's still 2 more tools after these guys. But lacing needles. Now, some whip makers use the Permalock needle, and if they use the Permalock needle, that is completely fine. I just happen to hate it because it does not work with my uses at all. I absolutely despise this Permalock needle. I've given it a fair shot, I really have, it just doesn't work. As far as making Turk's knots, it fails because it's got a expanded tip. And as far as making falls, that fails because of the expanded tip. This would be a great lacing needle if they didn't neuter it of its greatness with that little swell. This is horrendous. So that's why I have this one and this one. I use this blue one to make falls. It is very, very thin, and it can fit in any paracord, and it's very sharp. It has a very fine taper, and I can make falls very easily with this guy. This guy, if you notice, I use this to make my Turk's knots. I have 3 of these. They are wonderful. They are my favorite lacing needle ever. See how fine that point is? That is what you want when you're building and tying Turk's knots. That is a nice lacing needle. I really like this one. Now, another tool that I use is the Vise. I use this Vise and another one, that blue one that you might see in my other videos. But again, a Vise is something you have to have if you're building whips. I mean, no whip maker is a whip maker without a Vise. So, this was like 10 bucks. So if you build whips, get a Vise. That's my advice. And then the last one is a little cutting board. Now I use this board to roll my whips and to cut leather. This is my cut leather side, this is my rolling side. Now you may see some whip makers who use a big board and they kind of roll their whips with a big board. I am not a big fan of that because science is against them. When you use something this small, what it does is it basically, in a way, amplifies your body weight. Because you guys know how snowshoes work? When you step in snow, your foot sinks because all of your weight is in a small surface area. But when you have snowshoes, your surface area, the weight is spread out across more surface area, so you don't sink as far. Same principle applies to here. When you have a huge board, you're going to have to put a lot more weight. With this little board, I don't have to put in as much weight, and I can still get the same amount of pounds per square inch on, as opposed to a whip maker with a huge board. So this right here actually saves me energy, and science is on my side when I use a little board like this. And I use this for cutting leather. And like I said, I'm going to do a little demo of that. So I have some, I think 9-ounce cowhide. It's either 8 or 9 ounce. There you go. See, that's why I like the Caliper. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a section of leather that is 7/8 of an inch. Right there. Now this is how I do it. What I'll do is I'll take this, I'll do a poke here, I'll poke here, and then I'll look at my caliper, make sure it didn't move, and then down there. So essentially I just put 3 little holes in the leather. Now you guys can't see it, but I can. Now what this will allow me to do is line the back up with them. Like that. And then take my leather right down the back. And as you guys can see, I have a line. And then what I'll just basically do is just go over that with the blade. But yeah, that's how I pretty much cut the leather with my blade and my caliper. But yeah, I think I pretty much covered all of the tools, all 14. But anyways, thanks for watching. And if you guys have any questions, you can either email me with this email link right here, or you can go to my eBay shop and check out the cool stuff over there, and message me via eBay if for some weird reason email isn't working. But anyways, As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.